Good afternoon. We start in Sydney, where thousands of self-described freedom protesters have swarmed the city, calling for an end to lockdown. There were ugly scenes as demonstrators clashed with police, despite the state being in the grips of a spiralling COVID crisis. And as Tiffany Genders explains, at least 57 people were arrested.
What started as a rally at Broadway at midday has swelled into a marching movement, a 2-hour journey to Town Hall and back. As Sydney enters its 5th week of lockdown, it's clear a portion of the population don't believe it's justified. Thousands defying the public health order, travelling more than 10 kilometres from home to get here, and most are refusing to wear masks. Much of their anger directed to the hundreds of police trying to stop this gathering. There are officers on horseback, members of the public order and riot squad, traffic and highway patrol and rescue police, just to name a few. They were ordered to use as much force as necessary, and their aim was to stop this protest from going ahead. But today they were outnumbered. We've witnessed dozens of arrests, including a man who lit a fire outside Town Hall. Where's your mask today?
I'm exempt.
Do you believe in the public health orders, Anthony?
No.
My father passed away last year because he couldn't get the medical treatment he needed.
I'm from Bexley.
So you're defying the health orders to be...
I'm allowed to go out. My area's all right. I know you're the news, but you should be with us.
These scenes being mirrored in cities right across Australia as the virus and subsequent lockdowns cause unrest.
And as Tiffany said, it has been a similar story in Melbourne today, where thousands marched through the city, urging the government to free Victoria from stay-at-home orders. Maggie Rayworth was there.
Thousands of protesters are right now swarming the city. They say they just want their voices heard. It's clear people here are tired of lockdowns today, calling for their freedom. Protesters want lockdown number 5 to end now. Starting at various locations across the city, thousands have swarmed the streets.
Let us be free and enjoy our lives instead of being locked up in 4 walls.
I want a choice, and I want the choice to be mine.
Our kids are worth the fight. No more lockdown!
Many were angry and aimed their frustration at police. Hundreds of officers lined the streets, but they were clearly outnumbered. The media taking a hit too, some pointing their anger at anyone in their path. Today, very few masks were seen. Many here have planned to be arrested today, saying they want to show they're committed to their cause. Overall today, though, these protesters are asking for their freedom.
A record day of testing in New South Wales has led to a new high in daily cases, 163 positives over the past 24 hours. Lauren Tomasi joins us now with the very latest. Lauren, it was not the news that health authorities had hoped for.
Unfortunately not, Alicia. This is the exact opposite of what health authorities wanted. 163 cases recorded across New South Wales today. That is the new daily record for COVID cases. 45 of those cases were out and about while infectious in the community. That number, unfortunately, still too high. We did have a record number of tests today. More than 93,000 people turned out to be tested. So that is some positive news. There have been further restrictions put in place on southwest Sydney and western Sydney, where I am today, because the bulk of the cases are coming from this area. So as of midnight last night, further restrictions for 3 local government areas. They won't be able to leave the region unless they are an authorised worker. One unfortunate situation we did hear about today was a family gathering. They had gathered together to mourn a death. 18 people in that family have now tested positive to COVID-19.
It's an example of how families coming together, even in tragic times, can actually, when you're naturally grieving, can be a risk where COVID can easily take hold.
Limiting people's capacity to work is an horrific decision for a government, and to do that again last night in 2 further very big local government areas is horrible, but we had to do it.
We're now in week 5 of lockdown here in Sydney and Greater Sydney and surrounds. Tensions are boiling over, frustrated people, as we saw in those rallies today. Tensions really are boiling over. Premier Gladys Berejiklian hasn't yet said how long this lockdown will be extended, but has all but conceded it will have to be. These numbers are simply not going down. Alicia.
OK, Lauren there, thank you. Well, despite another day of low positive infections in Melbourne, there's concern over a city apartment building that's become a new Tier 1 exposure site. Laura Turner explains.
Well, in terms of the numbers, today was a good day for Victoria. 12 new cases of COVID-19, 10 of which were already in isolation when they were found to be infectious. 2 of the 12 were out in the community, we're told, but only for a day or so. So authorities have been pretty happy they've been able to get on to the close contacts of those 2 people relatively quickly. We are told, though, that our exposure sites have now climbed above 400, and there is a new exposure site, a new apartment building that is being focused on today in Docklands, the Lacrosse Apartments on Latrobe Street, where an infectious person was there visiting those apartments from the 17th of this month right through every day until yesterday. So that is now listed as a Tier 1 site, with residents there being tested and told they need to isolate immediately.
I can confirm that the individual case has now moved into hotel quarantine. That of course means that there are no known positive cases now in the building. However, out of an abundance of caution, we have arranged for testing of all the residents in this building.
Now, despite this new exposure site and the fact we did have 2 infectious people out in the community before they were found to have COVID-19, there was confidence and hope at today's government press conference that Victoria will come out of lockdown, hard lockdown that is, Tuesday night. We are told, though, to prepare ourselves while we are on the right track, and if we do come out of lockdown, we certainly will still be under some restrictions, as this Delta variant of COVID-19 is not something that we have dealt with before, and is a variant of the virus that is still highly infectious.
South Australia has recorded just 1 new COVID case today, with the state on track to emerge from a 7-day lockdown on Tuesday. The man in his 60s attended the Tenerife Creek winery with his wife, who tested positive. 9 cases are now linked to that super spreader event, taking the cluster total to 16. The Premier is hopeful that the efforts of South Australians are paying off.
I'm just so grateful that we put these restrictions in when we did. If we had have waited another 12 or 24 hours, we know that this particular strain would have got away from us.
A number of new testing sites have opened across the state, including at Mile End. The race is on for Queensland health authorities to track down hundreds of people who may have come into contact with a female flight attendant who tested positive to the Delta strain yesterday. One of the venues of most concern is Dreamworld, the woman visiting the theme park a week ago.
Ask everyone to remain vigilant, keep checking on those updated locations and make sure you're wearing your mask where possible.
Despite the positive case being infectious in the community since July 11, the Sunshine State has recorded no new cases today.